That's on that end of that one. I've given up on it. Over there in the lawyer.
My spot. Okay, let's get started. There may be a few latecomers to join us. I want to welcome everybody back from a summer break. I hope you had a productive and useful and happy summer, and you didn't get stung by too many bees or whatever. We're glad you're here. Before we get into discussing the seminar program, I'd like to recognize some students who have received some national awards. Each year our students, both graduate and undergraduate, compete for national scholarships and fellowships. We're usually quite successful because we have good students, and this year is no exception. We have DOE fellowships, but the ones I'm going to honor today are fellowship stipends from the American Nuclear Society. And I believe all 4 students are here so that we can pay homage to these outstanding students. And I repeat that this is a national award in that there's a national competition. So when you get selected for this, that means it's a real high honor. And these are all from the American Nuclear Society. And the first one goes to Brandon Rasmussen. Brandon, come down here. This is a check for $3,000. So, congratulations. Yeah, come over here where the camera is. The next award is also a $3,000 check from the American Nuclear Society, and it goes to Thomas Miller. I get my cut out. Okay. Congratulations. Okay. And the third one is another $3,000 check from the American Nuclear Society for Alan Wahlberg. Of course, it's understood that the department head gets his usual 10% commission, right? Congratulations. And then the final one is another check for $3,000 to T.J. Harrison. T.J.? In addition to the check, there's a nice certificate from A&S. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well deserved.
Okay. And so now we can begin talking about our seminar program. The main reason for having this first seminar, so to speak, is to really get your ideas on what you would like to see in the way of a seminar speaker and a topic. And I've already arranged quite a few, as you'll see in just a moment, but I brought my notebook here, and so when I get finished telling you what's already arranged, then I want to get your ideas and suggestions. Okay. Here we go. Now, before we do this, it was brought to my attention by sources outside the university that our diction and describing our seminar program may not be appropriate. There may be a better word, and in fact the word is colloquium. That what we do comes closer to being a colloquium than a seminar. And so what I did, I went to the dictionary. In fact, I went to 2 or 3 dictionaries. And the one I finally wound up using was Lachelle's dictionary, which is down here at the bottom, Webster's Ninth New Collegiate Dictionary, and these are the first definitions in the dictionary for the word seminar, and you can read it. A group of advanced students under a professor, each doing original research and all exchanging results through reports and discussions. And we do a lot of that around here. But these Wednesday afternoon activities, if you look at the definition of a colloquium, it's a meeting in which specialists deliver addresses on a topic or related topics and then answer questions relating to the topics. And so I think that the word colloquium, I have trouble pronouncing it sometimes, is more proper for what we're doing than the word seminar. And so I'm trying to make that change, and I'll probably still refer to this activity as a seminar, but I'm also, particularly on our website, I'm trying to use the right terminology. Okay. All right, what are the objectives? I thought we should list those, and this is what I came up with, objectives for this program, and you may have some more you want to add at the end during our discussion. The main objective is to learn from speakers outside of our department, and that's not just outside the university. It could be from some other department. It could be from another part of the world. We want to be exposed to new ideas and concepts, stay abreast and informed about current events and new opportunities. And we have this little phrase on our website, think outside the box, and occasionally even think outside of the nuclear box. At least once a semester, we like to do something totally off the wall, something totally different. And if you recall, I think last spring, we had Dr. Miller talk about his trip to Germany where he was in search of family roots. And then during that same seminar, Wesley Williams, who his hobby is classical guitar, gave a recital. And I think everybody enjoyed that. So I think it's good to do something like that at least once a semester. And then, of course, to exercise our intellect, really just to cause us to think. Lots of things causes us to think. We have really interesting discussions at lunch. Like today we talked about war with Iraq and Saddam Hussein. And we all agreed that we didn't think that was a good idea right now. But another objective is promote good relations with external organizations. This is somewhat of a selfish motive. Good relations can mean lots of things. It can mean summer jobs for our students. It can mean a sponsor coming in and sponsoring research, which will support not only graduate students, but part of a faculty member's time. And so it's really important that we have these liaisons, these relationships with outside organizations, because most of the people in here are getting paid to go to graduate school, right? The money's got to come from somewhere. And so the more we can do to promote good relationships with the outside, the greater the probability is that you're going to get paid, and probably the higher, the more money you're going to make. There's a direct correlation there. And then finally, since we always, after our speaker, after our seminar, after our colloquium, we go downstairs and we have refreshments. It's a time where we can interact with each other on a social basis. Students with faculty, with invited guests, and we all enjoy that, and the support staff does a really good job with the refreshments. And there again, if you have suggestions on changing the refreshments, okay, we can get tired of eating chips and jalapeno dip. After a while, you want to try something different, right? So let us know. We want your feedback and having anything to do with the seminar. These are my objectives. You might have some more you want to tell me about. Okay, here's what I've set up so far, and I did most of this either in the spring or early summer. I haven't done much in a month or two. Of course, August 28th is today. That's what we're doing today, and then really our first official seminar, and it's always going to be, as long as his health holds up, it'll be Dr. Weinberg. Most of you know who he is. Some of you probably do not know who he is. He's 88 years old. He was in the Manhattan Project. He is a former director of the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, director of the Oak Ridge Institute for Energy Analysis. He was the Ornell Lab Director for 19 years. He is a member of both the National Academy of Engineering and the National Academy of Sciences. And so, and to get him to come now, I have to go pick him up. And I usually go pick him up, and then Dr. Grower, who I don't see is here, will take him home. Dr. Grower and Dr. Weinberg used to play tennis together. And so the topic, in the past, he's done this 3 times in the past. And this is the 4th year that he's kicked off our seminar program, our Colloquium program. And he picked this topic, the second nuclear era revisited. He wrote an article, a book on the first nuclear era, and excuse me, the second nuclear era, and now he's going to revisit it because a lot of his predictions are beginning to come true. Okay, and he wants to say, "I told you so," which I support 100%. But then when I called him yesterday, or the day was 2 days ago, to confirm next week's seminar, he said, "Oh, by the way, this is the 100th anniversary of the birth of Eugene Wigner." And Eugene Wigner is the Nobel laureate who was Al Weinberg's mentor. Okay, and so he asked me, "What about talking about that?" And I said, "You talk about whatever you want to." So we may get a combination of comments about Wigner versus this particular topic. And then every couple of years at least, and sometimes probably ought to do it every year, we need to get the director of UT's career services to come by and tell you about what they offer in the way of helping you find summer jobs, find other types of permanent jobs, okay? And their technology is always changing and improving. And actually, I'm going to try to make use of, I've spent a lot of my time in the last 5 years helping undergraduates with their resumes. And he's got people better qualified to do that than I am. And so I'm going to try to turn that responsibility over to him. So he'll be here. On September the 25th, we have Tom Mason. Tom Mason is the project director for the Spallation Neutron Source. He is the top guy. The Spallation Neutron Source is the largest scientific construction project in the United States. It's over $1 billion project, and it'll be up and going in about 3 to 4 years. Yeah. And on October the 2nd, we have Terry Douglas. Terry Douglas is founder and president of CTI. CTI stands for Computer Tomography Incorporated. At least that's what it initially stood for. And what they make, what they sell and market are PET scan machines, positron emission tomography machines, and they have been very successful. And to get the founder of the company to come is quite a trick. But in my case, in our case, it's not, because he and I are from the same hometown. We used to play Little League baseball together. He was a catcher and I was a pitcher, so it's really easy for me to get him to come. He actually came about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago and gave a presentation. So we're going to get him back. And then on October the 9th, we have Dr. Hannah Musa, who is the new Radiation Safety Officer for the University of Tennessee. And he's also a graduate of this department, and I thought it would be worthwhile to find out what a radiation safety officer does on a day-to-day basis. Turns out they do a great deal, and so he's going to come and tell us about that. You'd be surprised how many research projects at this university use radioactive materials or just radiation, and it's a huge number. And he'll tell us about that. On October the 16th, Bill, the name is pronounced Gand, although it doesn't look that way. And by the way, these topics, like contaminated site cleanup and remediation, these topics are really not firm yet. The speakers will give me the precise topic at least a week before the presentation. But I know that this is the general topic, okay? And so I wanted to give you some idea of what he'll talk about. He works for a company called Shaw Industries, which you probably never heard of, but you may have heard of International Technology Corporation, IT Corporation. They have a local office, and Shaw bought IT just a few years ago. And he is the managing director of the local office. They have about 350 people, and they do site cleanup and remediation. It's health physics oriented stuff. And so he's coming. Then on October the 23rd, let me see if I can go back. Yeah. On October the 23rd, I don't have a speaker. It's an open date. And I really enjoy the presentations from the outside speakers. I don't want to miss any, okay? And since I'm in charge of scheduling the speakers, although the faculty, they helped me a great deal in inviting the speakers, I didn't schedule one here yet, simply because I won't be here. But you can certainly have a seminar, and probably will have a seminar. While you're having the seminar, I'll be over giving 3 presentations to 450 freshmen. And so that's the reason I won't be here. And then on October the 30th, we have another high-ranking official from industry. It's Rich Adams, and he is Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer for Battelle Memorial Institute. Battelle is the partner for the University of Tennessee in the operating contractor, UT Battelle, for the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. They also operate the Pacific Northwest Laboratory, and I think they operate Brookhaven National Laboratory, okay, again with a university partner. And so he is an interesting guy and does interesting things, and so I invited him to come. And he'll be here on October 30th. I should mention that, see, these are all Wednesdays, of course. On Friday, October the 25th, we will have our annual, we've done this 2 years in a row now, I guess, maybe 3, a cookout for the freshmen up on the hill between Ferris Hall and Perkins Hall. And it'll be for all 450 freshmen and everybody in our department. So that day you get a free lunch. And so we're going to issue tickets this time, and just go by one of the secretaries, because we planned on buying 600 lunches, preparing 600 lunches. I bet you we fed, Patrick, 1,000 people, because everybody and his uncle would stop by, and we'd run out of hamburgers. We'd make an emergency run to the hamburger place, and so we're going to try to control that a little better this year. English majors. Yeah, well, they have to eat too. We don't mind sharing, but
they brought them from the ag campus, I think. They had a bus.
Yeah. Okay. I think you're right. On November the 6th, that's an open date. And then on November the 13th, this gentleman, Alan Wooten, whom I've only met through email, he is the chief scientist, so I'm told, for the Lawrence Livermore National Lab. And he has requested to come to East Tennessee, the university, and I think he's going to visit Oak Ridge also. And he wanted to give a seminar somewhere, a colloquium somewhere, because, as most of you probably know, all the national labs are hurting for good young talent. And so he's here to show you what they do at Lawrence Livermore with the hope of enticing you to interview and accept a job offer out there. And that's on November the 13th. Then November the 20th, I did not schedule one for November the 20th because that's the annual winter meeting of the American Nuclear Society, and just about all our faculty will be going. But it doesn't mean that you can't have a seminar. If somebody comes up with a speaker that they want to have, then you can go ahead and schedule it. And they need to do it through me. And so the faculty doesn't have to be here for students and the guests to reap the benefits of the seminar colloquium. Okay. And then November the 27th is an open date, and I had December the 4th, and I looked at the calendar, the school calendar, academic calendar, classes in December 3rd. So December 4th will be a study day. So we won't have a seminar on December the 3rd. Now, that's what I have lined up. There are only 2 or 3 open dates, right, for the fall semester.
The 27th day before Thanksgiving.
Right. The 27th is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That may not be a good time. That's another reason I haven't scheduled it yet. But certainly, I think we've actually had a seminar on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving in the past. But that's usually the attendance is down, right? That we would expect that. Now that's what I have lined up. Let's talk about some other potential speakers and topics. We've already got a commitment from Sid Ball, who's a senior staff member at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. He wants to give, Dr. Upadhyay invited him to come over and talk about gas-cooled reactor technology. Turns out Oak Ridge is the leading national lab for gas-cooled reactor technology, always has been. And Sid has spent a large part of his career working in that field, and he will come at some point and give a seminar. So we've got the 2 or 3 dates this semester plus all next semester for these ideas. And these are just ideas. I may not invite these people depending on what your ideas are, which we'll get in just a moment. And then I thought it would be good if we got a medical physics type person here, and we have collaboration or connection with 2 of them, and maybe even more than 2, Dr. Miller, Chet Ramsey and Adrian Oliver. Chet is the medical physicist with Thompson Cancer Survival Center, and he's a pre-trial graduate of this department. And Adrian is an adjunct professor, and so is Chet for that matter. And so we can, they can talk. This is my idea. This is what I'd like to know. What do they do every day? Chet has been over here and talked about medical imaging, but I'd like to know basically what they do day in and day out. And then this gentleman here, a colleague of mine from Los Alamos, he's like one of their corporate fellows, and his specialty is supercomputing. And the government pumped a lot of money into a program called ASCII. Is the A advanced? I just guessed. I know what the rest of it is. Strategic Computing Initiative. Advanced Strategic Computing Initiative. And he does a lot of research in that area, dealing with, his specialty is Monte Carlo and the use of machines to do Monte Carlo. And so he's agreed to come, and we just haven't set a date yet. And then Rusi Taliarkin. Is Art here? I don't see. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. Some of you may have read about, if you remember a few years ago, and he will scold me for drawing the analogy, all the hoopla about cold fusion, okay? And it kind of came and didn't get a lot of respect, and then kind of went away. And still doesn't get a lot of respect, okay? Well, Rusi and his colleagues at Ornell have come up with something that's not cold fusion, okay, but it's something similar, and I know Rusi, and I have respect for Rusi, and he believes in what he's doing, and so I thought we might get him over here to talk about bubble fusion. And then the lab is trying to decide whether it's really hot air or not, and so they have engaged another researcher, Mike Saltmarsh, and Saltmarsh says it's all hot air. Am I right? And so it'd be nice to get both of them here and let them debate it, right? I doubt if we could do that. We might have Rusi one week, followed by Saltmarsh the second week. That would be interesting, right? Or vice versa. What did I do? Previous. And then most of you know that TVA made the announcement, and we're going to be done here in just a minute, after I get your seat. TVA has announced they do intend to restart Browns Ferry Unit 1. That reactor has not operated in over 18 years. And it's a big investment to do that. But right now, as most of you probably know, the cheapest way to produce electricity in the United States is with an existing nuclear power plant. And so TVA is trying to take full advantage of that and restart a plant that they shut down on a temporary basis 18 years ago. And so the guy that's in charge of that is John Rupert. John Rupert used to be the chief engineer for TVA. He now moved up to be the project manager for this restart project. He is also, as many of you probably know, he's on the board of advisors for our department. He's one of 5 advisors that we have. And so it'd be easy to get him to come, I think, if we can fit it in his schedule. And then finally, I don't know what I did then. The last guy on there was Dave Hill. And Dave Hill is the new division director for the Nuclear Science and Technology Division of the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. They formed that new nuclear division 6 or 8 months ago, and when they put it together, it is now the largest division from the standpoint of personnel at Oak Ridge. It's the largest division at Oak Ridge, and so he's a new division director. I've known him for years. He came from Argonne National Laboratory. He hired one of my former graduate students, and he loves UT graduates. And so it'd be nice to get him over here, and I don't think we'll get him to talk about the new division because we had his associate director last spring, Joe Herndon. So, but Dave can talk about a variety of subjects, and he's such a wonderful speaker. He's from Great Britain, has a British accent, and I think you'll enjoy him. That's what I have lined up for the year, and which leaves all of the second semester and a few spots this semester. And so I brought my little planner here, and now I'd like to have your, oh my goodness. Oh yeah, wow. John Church. John Church, let me tell you about John Church. John, hello if you're there. John Church was a colleague of mine at the Savannah River Laboratory. He has a PhD in nuclear engineering from the University of Florida. And he's an outstanding nuclear engineer. And he was one of our ABET reviewers when we had our accreditation visit 3 years ago. He was, in fact, our main reviewer, and he did an excellent job. He wrote a half a page here. You start making suggestions, and somebody up here remember, well, I'll read this thing and see what he says. Well, let me just read it to you. I think you need a standards committee to specify and insist on the use of the font to be used for slides, okay? The size of the font should also be specified. No fancy font as in Lee's slides today. Thank you, John. No, I appreciate his suggestion. And the specifications should be tested. Gary, you need to pay attention to this, on a 56K dial-up modem, because it helps to have a fast connection. Dr. Minot went from 56K to DSL, and he got it through AOL and did it all by yourself, right? Yeah. And now you have a much better transmission, right? Good video, good audio. In general, the entire image is fuzzy. Yeah, we realize that, John. Invest in a DSL connection or a cable modem. I have a cable modem at home. Perhaps this would be a suitable seminar topic. Yes, it could be. Or a student project. And get the advice of the UT Communications Department, okay? Excellent suggestion. We'll do that. Thank you, John. So we got interaction going on here with cyberspace. With people in cyberspace, a few anyway, and we appreciate that. Dr. Peavy worked at Savannah River for 15 years and worked almost in daily contact with John Church. I only worked there 6 years. So now I want your suggestions. And I gave you one at lunch. Is that a good one?
gonna go to Georgia Tech on October 25th.
Okay.
And do a seminar on solar particle effects.
Yeah.
One I can do it here in the 23rd.
All right, yeah. We could have our own Dr. Townsend give a seminar. I think that's an excellent idea. On October the 23rd. Okay? So we now have booked that date. What other suggestions do we have? Jenny. Yeah, where is Jenny? Oh, there she is. Okay.
Hey, Jenny should do it.
In fact, we occasionally do ask our graduate students when we have a really outstanding research project done by a graduate student, and he or she does a really good job on the presentation. Then I will take the initiative to invite that person to present a seminar. I've done that in the past to some of Dr. Miller's students who have long gone. But what other suggestions do you have? What about, the fusion budget is making a return. We got at least one or two strong fusion proponents in the audience. You want to try to get a speaker on fusion?
I could probably get a few people from MPT over at Oak Ridge to come over.
Okay.
Lee, it might be nice to get Bill Stacy to come up.
Oh yeah, that would be.
Written our new reactor.
Yes, that's. Let me make a comment about that. For 25 years, since '76 up until this year, which is 26 years, the textbook we use for graduate level reactor theory was Al Henry's textbook, and it's been out of print for at least 10 years, and we've had to go through the Harvard bookstore. Al Henry's a professor of nuclear engineering at MIT. He passed away about a year or two ago. But we had to go through the Harvard bookstore to get the rights to have a Xerox copy of the book, which we did, and it's really inconvenient. And he's passed away. And then our colleague from Georgia Tech, Bill Stacy, who is an eminent scholar in the nuclear engineering business, just came out with a new textbook. And Dr. Peavy is using that in the graduate level reactor theory. And so I know you've got how many students in graduate level total?
Keep growing. 25.
25. I can't remember ever having 25 students in 571 reactor theory before. So that tells you something about what's happening to enrollment. Now, about half of those are distance students, right? That's not a problem. The other half are local hot bodies in the classroom. So we will ask Bill Stacy to come, and he will come. Let me tell you, these guys that write the textbooks, and they know that we use their textbook, when you ask them to come and make a presentation, the answer is yes. Because if they don't, then we might not use their textbook anymore. Okay? Because making them an offer that they cannot refuse. Any other suggestions? Yes.
This may be a little off the wall, but this summer I had interaction with Gary Lowe, who's a correspondent for Channel 8, I guess, and he does the political commentary. In fact, he was in that play with me, and he missed about half of it because he was in Nashville covering all that ruckus. And I floated the idea by him to maybe do a seminar sometime. And with the gubernatorial election,
yeah, political.
It might be nice for him to, if we're interested in getting off the wall.
We are. I'm interested, and so if I control the books, we will do something like that. Because to me, we need to have diversity in what we're exposed to. There is real strength in diversity, and that we don't want people up here chasing neutrons every week in seminar, or we'll get sick of it, right? So we need to do some things that are awful. What's his name?
Gary Lowe.
Gary Lowe.
L-O-E.
That reminds me, we have a budding Broadway/movie star in our midst. Okay? Can you guess who it is? Turns out our own Dr. Peavy has participated in several local plays, and I have seen at least 2 of them. And the last one was, the first one was 45th, what was it? 42nd Street Broadway play. And then this other one is what is it?
Lady Be Good.
Lady Be Good. And if you want to see one of your professors sing and dance okay, then I encourage you to check with this budding star that we have and find out his next production. And, you know, we could all go in mass, and we could line up and get his autograph right there on the spot. And we can see him with all this makeup on his face, and lipstick on his lips, and things like that. And ask him how he ever learned to dance the way the guy has so much talent.
Sorry.
That's enough. That's enough. Okay. Any other suggestions? Well, if you don't think of anything right now, that's okay. We have this wonderful communications medium called the Internet, and if you're at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're sitting at your machine like I've been here lately, at home, and an idea comes to you for a seminar, just send me an email. Okay? Any other ideas or suggestions? Okay. Well, then let's adjourn to downstairs and have some refreshments. And again, we're glad you're back. We're glad you had a good summer. Thank you. Is that okay? I'm sorry. Congratulations. Thank you. Don't spend all that in one place.